This is another Big Brother 27 live feed update and a minor episode reaction. Like, comment, and subscribe. Get me to 1,000 subs. Now, initially, I wasn't going to do any reaction to the episode, but seeing that HOH comp, I just had to comment and make a video about it. Obviously, we know the BS that went on with RYLIE getting the worse than Shima treatment with his HOH being taken over. But even before that happened, this HOH comp was the most rigged I've ever seen. It's like this show refuses to allow all of the people that are eligible to compete for the next HOH, minus the outgoing HOH. They refuse to just allow all of the individuals to compete. So far this season, it's always come with some gimmick, starting with the first HOH, where literally only 4 people out of the 17 were allowed to compete in it. And now in this HOH, you had Kelly, who initially couldn't compete, and then they divided up teams and they kept coming up with all these convoluted rules where Rachel could force herself on a team. It was just so flagrantly rigged. Rigged to basically allow Rachel or someone that's an ally of Rachel to win HOH. And then obviously, as we saw, that turned out not to happen. And right behind that, they had the superpower. And if Mickey didn't have the superpower, I guarantee you, the mastermind suddenly resurrects himself after being absent for weeks. Like, it's just so blatantly rigged. It makes me feel much better about CBS getting sued. Not that I was disappointed that they got sued. Now I just wish they got sued for $15 billion instead of the $15 million that they had to pay Trump. Because this is supposed to be a reality competition show, but that is just on paper not true. They should not legally be allowed to call themselves that. And then the other thing that I did appreciate about this episode is seeing Rachel lose another fight. She lost the fights against Reagan. She lost the fights against Danielle in 13 and now Catherine. Because, people have this revisionist history of Rachel now, that she was, this great verbal fight queen, when in fact she lost all her fights. I mean, I think she probably even lost the fight with Christian, but they always highlight that, just that one portion where she talk about floaters getting a life face and then says Kirsten or Christian, however you say her name. But yeah, seeing Kat defend RYLIE, who apparently, according to BB Twitter, is trying to commit crimes, sex crimes against her, and Catherine secretly despised him and is creeped out by him and is trying to alert production without being obvious about it. But, that's the same woman also defending him and by his side when he cries about getting the HOH hijacked. I mean, again, it just goes on with these narratives that, I have to say, the libtard fans of this fandom love to spread about people. Like, they don't think twice about slandering, defaming, and cheerleading things being rigged in their favor. And that doesn't just apply to reality competition shows. It applies to elections as well. Because these people don't have any shame in their lack of integrity. And they carry that mentality in everything that they focus in on, from the serious presidential elections, local elections, to the trivial reality competition show. I mean, I heard that Love Island show had people so pissed off that they called ICE on one of the competitors. And again, you have to remember, the fans of that show are the same people that are supposed to be anti-ICE, but solely for petty reasons, they will call something that they don't support just to get at somebody for not doing something that they want in a trivial competition show. Well, I think Love Island is not really seen as a competition show, more so a dating game show. But anyway, even after all we saw in that episode, somehow there's a strong possibility that Riley and Kat could still be safe with Mickey. Now, watching that episode, you wouldn't think there was even a chance in hell, but Mickey got it in her mind that Jimmy is someone she should go after or potentially go after. And I will say a lot of people has been involved in this. Mickey, along with Morgan, ever since Jimmy put Amy up and Amy went on his HOH, hasn't trusted Jimmy. And then you have Zach, who put a bug in Morgan's ear, and through Morgan put a bug in Mickey's ear about targeting Jimmy. And then Keanu had that long conversation with Morgan and Mickey about how Jimmy is untrustworthy and is playing both sides. And, quite naturally, Mickey probably also has sort of a racial bias against Jimmy. Even though, again, he's been scrubbing her feet, massaging her head, giving her hugs, calling her, like doing everything that you can imagine for someone to do to prove that they trust you. But again, it probably will bite her in the butt. It goes back to her little racial bias and seeing that Jimmy could possibly be good with everyone, and it's probably responsible for Riley and Catherine not liking her, because that's something else that she thinks. That Jimmy, knowing that Jimmy's close to Kat and Lauren, Jimmy's probably the one that put that bug in Catherine's ear about maybe not trusting Mickey. So she's most definitely being influenced by a lot of others, but also her internal feelings. And of course, I can't forget her desire to win Riley's love that I've talked about in previous videos. Now Rachel is the one that sort of put in the possibility of pawning an Ava, because Jimmy is another one of these people that want Rachel to make it far, at least until they have their Reagan 2.0 moment. But again, I still would be surprised if Jimmy goes pre-jury. I really will. Because there's still the BB blockbuster that if CBS doesn't want him to go, could rig something up for him to win. And then they'll be forced to vote out Riley or Kelly. And in that scenario, Kelly would be the one to go. And that ultimately would be a good move for Rachel. And seeing how they have these HOHs go, where it's not even a real HOH. They don't allow all competitors to play for HOH, like all the individual competitors to play. Like if it's 15 people in the house, all 15 people that's not the outgoing HOH should be able to play HOH. Instead, they do all this rigging bullshit, splitting it into teams, or throwing in some twist into the comp where only 1/3 of the house can compete, or only half of the house can compete. So you legitimately can't say who's a threat to win HOH. The threat is, how will CBS arrange the HOH competition to play out? Because hell, they could do it. They could contort things in a way to where, only the shortest people in the house can play HOH. I mean, because again, seeing that HOH playthrough was just some of the most convoluted, obviously rigged nonsense. But anyway, that's all I have to say about what I saw on the episode and what's currently cooking on the live feeds. Ultimately, we'll see if Mickey makes the renom, and if she does, she'll manage to continue the tradition of horrible HOHs this season. And this move would actually be worse than Lauren's, since at least Lauren can say she wasn't as close to Adrian the way Mickey is close to Jimmy.